Oh, wonderful. I'm glad she's okay. Though, bowel blockage sucks. Um, all right, well, if we're all ready to go, if she's going to be ready to go on Sunday, I will definitely do my do picture book night on Sunday. That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. I got a whole freaking list. I might end up just doing Monday and Sunday. Awesome. Awesome. Poor thing. She had to be. That had to be scary. I don't like hospitals myself. Hey, Jasmine, how are you? And we'll see how tonight goes. I got a notification from TikTok this morning telling me that it is possible that during my past lives, during recent lives, I may have used language that could harm the community. Like, so I'm like thinking, okay, what language? What live? When? During the nothing. You violated our community guidelines. Which ones? Yes. Can you tell me what it was? No. They are just crazy. It is nuts. Hey, Peggy, how are you? And that is exactly why my energy is going elsewhere. Well, Carrie, thank you for the follow. Hey, Wings. Yes. Thank the gods indeed. It is Friday. Hello, Amanda. Welcome in. So glad to see everybody. Yeah, I started a little early again. TikTok gives me a little notification that says, your live starts in 10 minutes. Why not go on early? Like, why not? Because it doesn't help me? It's alright. I got my grape ghost. I got you guys. That's all that matters. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Welcome in. Hey, Sarah, you made it. Christy, I try not to be. It's been a fight. It's been a fight for the last few, but I am starting to get back into it. I have created myself a daily schedule that kind of locks me into what activities I'm doing when, so that I can do what I need to support the live. Oh yeah, on the regular, it's especially, it's like when you say, I'm going to be live at this time. You should be. I mean, if it's a creator that's just always random, I guess it's okay. But yeah, no, my lives are always Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Those are the days that I'll be live, and it's always 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Hey, Queen, how are you? Welcome in. It's good to see you. We'll see what kind of distribution the TikTok gods give me tonight. I won't yawn on you. I can't guarantee that. With all the stress and everything, I don't sleep very well, but well, faithless angel, then you are in the right place. I've got 2 stories for us tonight. Yes, Storytime goblins. One of us, one of us, one of us. I actually have, honestly, I take that as a compliment, Angel. I do. Susie, I have 2 stories tonight by 2 giants of science fiction. One is by Philip K. Dick, and the other one is by Arthur C. Clarke. One has some humor to it, and the other one is a bit heavier, but still very good. Still very good. Hey, Eddie, how are you doing, brother? Welcome in. Oh. Somebody's watching over on the tubes. How are we doing over there on the tubes? Speak up. Make yourself known. I wish to know who you are. I mean, hey, Lauren, how are you? Wings, it is possible. I got a message from TikTok. I'll read it to you guys. This is just, yeah. This is classic TikTok and their moderation, which is just crazy. Yeah, avoiding live restrictions. Understanding understanding language violations in TikTok Live. Why am I receiving this message? Hey, Lisa, welcome. Your recent live streams included content that may impact the experience of viewers and communities on TikTok. This message is to help you. This is my favorite part. This message is to help you understand TikTok standards for live and how to keep your live running smoothly. So then it goes through the standard garbage about how, religious discrimination, disability-related slurs, general profanity and strong expletives, hate speech, racist and ethnically discriminatory language. And nowhere in this message does it say which live it occurred on, and it certainly doesn't say where in the live or what language I used. So this message is completely useless. Like, completely useless. And it's like, just crazy. Yeah, my energy's going elsewhere because I'm kind of tired of this. You know, and my biggest issue right now is just the inconsistent distribution. I can't plan based on, there was one point where, I mean, so my regulars know that there would be like 400, 500 people in the room on a Sunday night. Now it's like I'm barely breaking 100 all of a sudden. And there's no reason for it. Like, I haven't changed anything. I'm still reading family-friendly stories on Sundays, and nothing. It's just crazy. But I'm okay. We'll just keep plugging away. I mean, I'm not giving up. I'm not leaving you guys. I'm just gonna be here. Oh, Pizza Monster, nothing major. Thanks, Sunshine. You're watching over on the tubes. I see you. Hey, Rita, how are you? Yanni, welcome in. Yes, I actually hit 302 subscribers over on the Tubes of You, which is pretty cool. It seems like a pitiful amount considering the fact that I have 21,000 over here, but given the fact that I started this year at 60, that's quite the jump. So, hey Casey, happy Friday indeed. Welcome. It is, and it's a different world over there, and boy, their analytics. Oh, the data nerd in me just salivates looking at their analytics. But yeah, because their analytics, it's almost too much. Yeah, and I want people to listen or watch wherever they feel comfortable, wherever is most comfortable for them. And I'm not going to abandon YouTube, no matter what YouTube might think, or not YouTube. I'm not going to abandon TikTok. Uh-oh, I've said the dirty word. Oh, I've messed up now. Nope. Rita, I get that. I totally understand that. Oh, Rita, I was actually going to contact you about possibly joining me to read Secret Garden we can trade off a little bit, which I think would be fun. Shorts is the way to go. My last two shorts hit almost 800 views a piece, which is just crazy. All right, well, it is 9:10. I kind of figured you would. And I've never read it live, so I think it would be a fun thing to do. And knowing that you had read it before, I think it would be fun. I would enjoy that. And I like having other people on with me. It's just fun. And I know that night that I had Tessa on, it was fantastic. Everybody loved it. All right. Well, I will plan it, and I will let you know. We'll coordinate it. All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Storytime with UndeadPapa. Tonight, we travel far beyond the familiar. A captured ship offers the possibility of going somewhere no one has ever gone before. And on Mars, one man looks backward toward Earth from 50 million miles away. Science fiction often begins with a journey, but sometimes the real question is not where we are going, but what we discover when we get there. So wherever you're listening from, dim the lights, sit back and relax, because Storytime is about to begin. Our first story tonight is Prize Ship by Philip K. Dick. General Thomas Groves gazed glumly up at the battle maps on the wall. The thin black line, the iron ring around Ganymede, was still there. He waited a moment, vaguely hoping, but the line did not go away. At last he turned and made his way out of the chart wing, past the rows of desks. At the door, Major Siller stopped him. "What's wrong, sir? No change in the war?" "No change." "What'll we do?" "Come to terms. Their terms. We can't let it drag on another month. Everybody knows that. They know that." "Licked by a little outfit like Ganymede." "If only I had more time. But we don't. The ships must be out in deep space again, right away. If we have to capitulate to get them out, then let's do it." "Ganymede," he spat. "If we could only break them. But by that time, the colonies won't exist." "We have to get our cradles back in our own hands," Groves said grimly, "even if it takes capitulation to do it. No other way will do." "You find another way." Groves pushed past Siller out into the corridor. "And if you find it, let me know." The war had been going on for 2 Terran months with no sign of a break. The system Senate's difficult position came from the fact that Ganymede was the jump-off point between the system and its precarious network of colonies at Proxima Centauri. All ships leaving the system for deep space were launched from the immense space cradles on Ganymede. There were no other cradles. Ganymede had been agreed on as the jump-off point, and the cradles had been constructed there. The Ganymedians became rich, hauling freight and supplies in their tubby little ships. Over a period of time, more and more Gani ships took to the sky, freighters and cruisers and patrol ships. One day, this odd fleet landed among the space cradles, killed and imprisoned the Terran and Martian guards, and proclaimed that Ganymede and the cradles were their property. If the Senate wanted to use the cradles, they paid, and paid plenty. 20% of all freighted goods turned over to the Gani Emperor left on the moon, and full Senate representation. If the Senate fleet tried to take back the cradles by force, the cradles would be destroyed. The Ganymedians had already mined them with H-bombs. The Gani fleet surrounded the moon, a little ring of hard steel. If the Senate fleet tried to break through, seize the moon, it would be the end of the cradles. What could the system do? At Proxima, the colonies were starving. "You're certain we can't launch ships into deep space from regular fields?" the Martian senator asked. "Only Class 1 ships have any chance to reach the colonies," Commander James Carmichael said wearily. "A Class 1 ship is 10 times the size of a regular intra-system ship. A Class 1 ship needs a cradle, miles deep, miles wide. You can't launch a ship that size from a meadow." There was silence. The great Senate chambers were full, crowded to capacity with representatives from all 9 planets. "The Proxima colonies won't last another 20 days, Dr. Bassett testified. That means we must get a ship on the way sometime next week. Otherwise, when we do get there, we won't find anyone alive. When will the new lunar cradles be ready? A month, Carmichael answered. No sooner? No. Then apparently we have to accept Ganymede's terms. The Senate leader snorted with disgust. 9 planets and one wretched little moon. How dare they want equal voice in the system members? We could break their ring, Carmichael said, but they'll destroy the cradles without hesitation if we do. If only we could get supplies to the colonies without using space cradles, a Plutonian senator said. That would mean without using Class 1 ships. And nothing else will reach Proxima. Nothing that we know of. A Saturnian senator arose. Commander, what kind of ships does Ganymede use? They're different from our own fleet. Yes, but no one knows anything about them. How are they launched? The usual way, from fields. Do you think... I don't think they're deep space ships. They're beginning to grasp at straws. There simply is no ship large enough to cross deep space that doesn't require a space cradle. That's the fact we must accept. The Senate leader stirred. A motion is already before the Senate that we accept the proposal of the Ganymedians and conclude the war. Shall we take the vote, or are there any more questions? No one blinked his light. Then we'll begin. Mercury, what is the vote of the first planet? Mercury votes to accept the enemy's terms. Venus, what does Venus vote? Venus votes... Wait! Commander Carmichael stood up suddenly. The Senate leader raised his hand. What is it? The Senate is voting. Carmichael gazed down intently at a foil ship that had been shot to him across the chamber, or foil strip that had been shot to him across the chamber from the chart wing. I don't know how important this is, but I think perhaps the Senate should know about it before it votes. What is it? I have a message from the first line. A Martian raider has surprised and captured a Gany research station on an asteroid between Mars and Jupiter. A large quantity of Gany equipment has been taken intact. Carmichael looked around the hall. Including a Gany ship, a new ship, undergoing tests at the station. The Gany staff was destroyed, but the prize ship is undamaged. The raider is bringing it here, so it can be examined by our experts. A murmur broke through the chamber. I put forth a motion that we withhold our decision until Ganymedian ship has been examined, a Uranian senator shouted. Something might come of this. Ganymedians have put a lot of energy into designing ships, Carmichael murmured to the Senate leader. Their ships are strange, quite different from ours. Maybe... What is the vote on this motion? The Senate leader asked. Shall we wait until this ship can be examined? Let's wait, voices cried. Wait, let's see. Carmichael rubbed his paw thoughtfully. It's worth a try, but if nothing comes of this, we'll have to go ahead and capitulate. He folded up the foil strip. Anyhow, it's worth looking into. A Gany ship? I wonder. Dr. Earl Bassett's face was red with excitement. Let me try. He pushed through a row of uniformed officers. Let me by. 2 shiny lieutenants stepped out of his way, and he saw for the first time the great globe of steel, a Rexinoid that What? Holy cow. I'm going to read that sentence over again. Crazy Mama, no, you haven't missed much. Oh, hometown girl, you're very welcome. I am glad you are here. Dr. Earl Bassett's face was red with excitement. Let me by. He pushed through the row of uniformed officers. Please, let me by. Two shiny lieutenants stepped out of his way, and he saw for the first time the great globe of steel and rexinoid that was the captured Ganymedian ship. Look at it, Major Siller whispered. Nothing at all like our own ships. What makes it run? No drive jets, Commander Carmichael said. Only landing jets to set her down. What makes her go? The Ganymedian globe rested quietly in the center of the Terran experimental laboratory, rising up from the circle of men like a great bubble. It was a beautiful ship, glimmering with an even metallic fire, shimmering and radiating a cold light. It gives you a strange feeling, General Groves said. Suddenly he caught his breath. You don't suppose this could be a gravity drive ship? The Gannies were supposed to be experimenting with gravity. What's that? Bassett said. A gravity drive would reach its destination without time lapse. The velocity of gravity is infinite, can't be measured. If this globe is... Nonsense, Carmichael said. Einstein showed gravity isn't a force, but a warpage, a space warpage. But couldn't a ship be built using... Gentlemen, the Senate leader came quickly into the laboratory, surrounded by his guards. Is this the ship, the globe? The officers pulled back, and the Senate leader went gingerly up to the great gleaming side. He touched it. It's undamaged, Siller said. They're translating the control markings so we can use it. So this is the Ganymedian ship. Will it help us? We don't know yet, Carmichael said. Here comes the think, man, Groves said. The hatch of the globe had opened, and two men in white lab uniforms were stepping carefully down, carrying a Samantha box. What are the results? The Senate leader asked. We've made translations. A Terran crew could operate the ship now. All the controls are marked. We should make a study of the engines before we try the ship out, Dr. Bassett said. What do we know about it? We don't know what makes it run or what fuel it uses. How long would such a study take? The leader asked. Several days at least, Carmichael said. That long? There's no telling what we'll run into. We may find a radically new type of drive and fuel. It might even take several weeks to finish the analysis. The Senate leader pondered. Sir, Carmichael said, I think we should go ahead and have a test run. We can easily raise a volunteer crew. A trial run could begin at once, Groves said, but we might have to wait weeks for the drive analysis. You believe a complete crew would volunteer? Carmichael rubbed his hands together. Don't worry about that. 4 men would do it, 3 outside of me. 2, General Groves said. Count me in. How about me, sir? Major Siller asked hopefully. Dr. Bassett pushed up nervously. Is it all right for a civilian to volunteer? I'm curious as hell about this. The Senate leader smiled. Why not? If you could be of use, go along so the crew is already here. The 4 men grinned at each other. Well, Groves said, what are we waiting for? Let's get her started. The linguist traced a meter reading with his finger. You can see the Ganny markings. Next to each we've put the Terran equivalent. There's one hitch, though. We know the Gani word for, say, 5, Zaf. So where we find Zaf, we mark a 5 for you. See this dial? Where the arrow's at Nessie, at 0? See how it's marked? Carmichael nodded. So? This is the problem. We don't know what the units refer to. 5, but 5 what? 50, but 50 what? Presumably velocity, or is it distance, since no study has been made of the workings of this ship? You can't interpret? How? The linguist tapped on a switch. Obviously, this throws the drive on. Mel, start. You close the switch and it indicates IO, stop. But how do you guide the ship is a different matter. We can't tell you what the meter is for. Groves touched a wheel. Doesn't this guide her? It governs the brake rockets, the landing jets. As for the central drive, we don't know what it is or how you control it. Once you started, semantics won't help you. Only experience. We can translate numbers only into numbers. Groves and Carmichael looked at each other. Well, Groves said, we may find ourselves lost in space, or falling into the sun. I saw a ship spiral into the sun once, faster and faster, down and down. We're a long way from the sun, and we'll point her out toward Pluto. We'll get control eventually. You don't want to unvolunteer, do you? Of course not. How about the rest of you? Carmichael said to Bassett and Siller. You still coming along? Certainly. Bassett was stepping cautiously into his spacesuit. We're coming. Make sure you seal your helmet completely. Carmichael helped him fasten his leggings. Your shoes next. Commander, Groves said, they're finishing on the vid screen. I wanted to install it so we could establish contact. We might need some help getting back. Good idea. Carmichael went over, examining the leads from the screen. Self-contained power unit? For safety's sake. Independent from the ship. Carmichael sat down before the vid screen, clicking it on. The local monitor appeared. Get me the garrison station on Mars. Commander Vecchi. The call locked through. Carmichael began to lace his boots and leggings while he waited. He was lowering his helmet into place when when the screen glowed to life. Excuse me. Vecchi's dark features formed lean jaw above the scarlet uniform. Greetings, Commander Carmichael, he murmured. He glanced curiously at Carmichael's suit. You're going on a trip, Commander? We may visit you. We're about to take the captured Gani ship up. If everything goes right, I hope to set her down at your field sometime later today. We'll have the field cleared and ready for you. Better have emergency equipment on hand. We're still unsure of the controls. I wish you luck. Vecchi's eyes flickered. I could see the interior of your ship. What drive is it? We don't know yet. That's the problem. I hope you'll be able to land, Commander. Thanks. So do we. Carmichael broke the connection. Groves and Siller were already dressed. They were helping Bassett tighten the screw locks of his earphones. We're ready, Groves said. He looked through the port. Damn it, I never hit the button. Say goodbye, Siller said to Bassett. "This may be our last minute on Terra." "Is there really much danger?" Groves sat down beside Carmichael at the control board. "Ready?" His voice came to Carmichael through his phones. "Ready." Carmichael reached out his gloved hand toward the switch marked Mel. "Here we go. Hold on tight." He grasped the switch firmly and pulled. They were falling through space. "Help!" Dr. Bassett shouted. He slid across the upended floor, crashing against the table. Carmichael and Groves hung on grimly, trying to keep their places at the board. The globe was spinning and dropping, settling lower and lower through a heavy sheet of rain. Below them, visible through the port, was a vast rolling ocean, an endless expanse of blue water, as far as the eye could see. Siller stared down at it, on his hands and knees, sliding with the globe. "Commander, where should we be?" "Someplace off Mars, but this can't be Mars." Groves flipped the brake rocket switches, one after another. The globe shuddered as the rockets came on, bursting into life around them. "Easy does it," Carmichael said, craning his neck to see through the port. "Ocean? What the hell?" The globe leveled off, shooting rapidly above the water, parallel to the surface. Siller got slowly to his feet, hanging on to the railing. He helped Bassett up. "Okay, Doc?" "Thanks," Bassett wobbled. His glasses had come off inside his helmet. "Where are we? On Mars already?" "We're there," Groves said. "But it isn't Mars." "But I thought we were going to Mars." "So do the rest of us." Groves decreased the speed of the globe cautiously. "You can see this isn't Mars." "Then what is it?" "I don't know. We'll find out, though. Commander, watch the starboard jet. It's overbalancing. Your switch." Carmichael adjusted. "Where do you think we are?" "I don't understand it. Are we still on Terra or Venus?" Groves flicked the vid screen on. "I'll soon find out if we're on Terra." He raised the all-wave control. The screen remained blank. Nothing formed. "We are not on Terra." "We're not anywhere in the system." Groves spun the dial. "No response." "Try the frequency of the Big Mars sender." Groves adjusted the dial. At the spot where the Mars sender should have come in, there was nothing. The four men gaped foolishly at the screen. All their lives they had received the familiar, sanguine faces of Martian announcers on that wave. 24 hours a day, the most powerful sender in the system. Mars' sender reached all 9 planets and even out into deep space. And it was always on the air. "Lord," Bassett said, "we're out of the system." "We're not in the system," Groves said. "Notice the horizontal curve. This is a small planet we're on, maybe a moon. But it's no planet or moon I've ever seen before. Not in the system, and not the Proxima area either." Carmichael stood up. "The units must be big multiples, all right. We're out of the system, perhaps all the way around the galaxy." He peered out the port at the rolling water. "I don't see any stars," Bassett said. "Later on we can get a star reading, when we're on the other side, away from the sun." "Ocean," Siller murmured. "Miles of it. And a good temperature." He removed his helmet cautiously. "Maybe we don't need these after all." "Better leave them on until we can make an atmosphere check," Groves said. "Isn't there a check tube in this bubble?" "I don't see any." "Well, it doesn't matter if we—" "Sir," Siller exclaimed, "land!" They ran to the port. The land was rising into view on the horizon of the planet. A long, low strip of land, a coastline. They could see green. The land was fertile. I'll turn her a little right, Groves said, sitting down at the board. He adjusted the controls. How's that? Heading right toward it. Carmichael sat down beside him. Well, at least we won't drown. I wonder where we are. How will we know? What if the star map can't be equated? We can take a stereoscopic analysis, try to find a known star. We're almost there, Bassett said nervously. You better slow us down, General, or we'll crash. I'm doing the best I can. Any mountains or peaks? No, it seems quite flat, like a plain. The globe dropped lower and lower, slowing down. Green scenery whipped past below them. Far off, a row of meager hills came finally into view. The globe was barely skimming now, as the two pilots fought to bring it to a stop. Easy, easy, Groves murmured. Too fast. All the brakes were firing. The globe was a bedlam of noise, knocked back and forth as the jets fired. Gradually it lost velocity until it was almost hanging in the sky. Then it sank, like a toy balloon, settling down to the green plain below. Cut the rockets! The pilots snapped their switches. Abruptly, all sound ceased. They looked at each other. Any moment, Carmichael murmured. Plop. We're down, Bassett said. We're down. They unscrewed the hatch cautiously, their helmets tightly in place. Siller held a Boris gun ready as Groves and Carmichael swung the heavy Rexinoid disc back. A blast of warm air rolled into the globe, swelling around them. See anything? Bassett said. Nothing. Level fields. Some kind of planet. The general stepped down onto the ground. Tiny planets. Thousands of them. I don't know what kind. Tiny plants, not planets. Tiny plants. Thousands of them. I don't know what kind. The other men stepped out, their boots sinking into the moist soil. They looked around them. Which way? Siller said. Toward those hills? Might as well. What a flat planet. Carmichael strode off, leaving deep tracks behind him. The others followed. Harmless-looking place, Bassett said. He picked a handful of the little plants. What are they, some kind of weed? He stuffed them into the pocket of his spacesuit. Stop! Siller froze, rigid, his gun raised. What is it? Something moved. Through that patch of shrubbery over there. They waited. Everything was quiet around them. A faint breeze eddied through the surface of green. The sky overhead was a clear, warm blue with a few faint clouds. What did it look like? Bassett said. Some insect. Wait. Siller crossed to the patch of plants. He kicked at them. All at once, a tiny creature rushed out, scuttling away. Siller fired. The bolt from the Boris gun ignited the ground, a roar of white fire. When the cloud dissipated, there was nothing but a seared pit. Sorry. Siller lowered the gun shakily. It's all right. Better to shoot first on a strange planet. Groves and Carmichael went on ahead, but up a low rise. Groves and Carmichael went on ahead, up a low rise. Wait for me, Bassett called. He fell behind the others. I have something in my boot. You can catch up, the three went on, leaving the doctor alone. He sat down on the moist ground, grumbling. He began to unlace his boot slowly. Around him the air was warm. He sighed, relaxing. After a moment he removed his helmet and adjusted his glasses. Smells of plants and flowers were heavy in the air. He took a deep breath, letting it out again slowly. Then he put his helmet back on and finished lacing up his boot. A tiny man not 6 inches high, appeared from a clump of weeds and shot an arrow at him. Bassett stared down. The arrow, a minute splinter of wood, was sticking in the sleeve of his spacesuit. He opened and closed his mouth, but no sounds came. The second arrow glanced off the transparent shield of his helmet, then a third and a fourth. The tiny man had been joined by companions, one of them a tiny horse. "Mother of heaven!" Bassett said. "What's the matter?" General Grove's voice came into his earphones. "You all right, Doctor?" "Sir, a tiny man just fired an arrow at me." "Really?" There's a whole bunch of them now." "Are you out of your mind?" "No." Bassett scrambled to his feet. A volley of arrows rose up, sticking into his suit, glancing off his helmet. The shrill voices of the tiny men came to his ears, an excited, penetrating sound. "General, please come back here." Groves and Siller appeared at the top of the ridge. "Bassett, you must be out of—" They stopped, transfixed. Siller raised the Boris gun, but Groves pushed the muzzle down. "Impossible." He advanced, staring down at the ground. An arrow pinged against his helmet. Little men, with bows and arrows. Suddenly the little men turned and fled. They raced off, some on foot, some on horseback, through the weeds and out of the other side. "There they go," Siller said. "Should we follow them? See where they live?" "It isn't possible." Groves shook his head. "No planet has yielded tiny human beings like this, so small." Commander Carmichael strode down the ridge to them. "Did I really see it?" "You men saw it, too. Tiny figures racing away." Groves pulled an arrow from his suit. "We saw and felt." He held the arrow close to the plate of his helmet, examining it. "Look, the tip glitters, metal-tipped." "Did you notice their costumes?" Bassett said. "In a storybook I once read, Robin Hood, little caps and boots." "A story." Groves rubbed his jaw, a strange look suddenly glinting in his eyes. "A book." "What, sir?" Siller said. "Nothing." Groves came suddenly to life, moving away. "Let's follow them. I want to see their city." He increased his pace, walking with great strides after the tiny men who had not gotten very far off yet. "Come on," Siller said, "before they get away." He and Carmichael and Bassett followed behind Groves, catching up with him. The 4 of them kept pace with the tiny men who were hurrying away as fast as they could. After a time, one of the tiny men stopped, throwing himself down on the ground. The others hesitated, looking back. "He's tired out," Siller said. "He can't make it." Shrill squeaks rose. He was being urged on. "Give him a hand," Bassett said. He bent down, picking the tiny figure up. He held him carefully between his gloved fingers, turning him around, and... "Ouch!" He set him down quickly. "What is it?" Groves came over. "He stung me." Bassett massaged his thumb. "Stung you?" "Stabbed, I mean, with his sword." "You'll be all right," Groves went on after the tiny figures. "Sir," Siller said to Carmichael, "this certainly makes the Ganymede problem seem remote. It's a long way off." "I wonder what their city will be like," Groves said. "I think I know," Bassett said. "You know? How?" Bassett did not answer. He seemed to be deep in thought, watching the figures on the ground intently. "Come on," he said. "Let's not lose them." They stood together, none of them speaking. Ahead, down a long slope, lay a miniature city. The tiny figures had fled into it across a drawbridge. Now the bridge was rising, lifted by almost invisible threads. Even as they watched, the bridge snapped shut. "Well, Doc," Siller said, "this what you expected?" Bassett nodded. Exactly. The city was walled, built of gray stone. It was surrounded by a little moat. Countless spires rose up, a conglomeration of peaks and gables, tops of buildings. There was furious activity going on inside the city. A cacophony of shrill sounds from countless throats drifted across the moat to the four men, growing louder each moment. At the walls of the city, figures appeared, soldiers in armor peering across the moat at them. Suddenly, the drawbridge quivered. It began to slide down, descending into position. There was a pause. Then, "Look!" Graves exclaimed. "Here they come!" Siller raised his gun. "My lord, look at them!" A horde of armed men on horseback clattered across the drawbridge, spilling out onto the ground beyond. They came straight toward the four space-suited men, the sun sparkling against their shields and spears. There were hundreds of them, decked with streamers and banners and pennants of all colors and sizes, an impressive sight on a small scale. "Get ready," Carmichael said. "They mean business. Watch your legs." He tightened the bolts of his helmet. The first wave of horsemen reached Groves, who was standing a little ahead of the others. A ring of warriors surrounded him, little glittering armor and plumed figures hacking furiously at his ankles with miniature swords. "Cut it out!" Groves howled, leaping back. "Stop!" "They're going to give us trouble," Carmichael said. Siller began to giggle nervously as arrows flew around him. "Shall I give it to them, sir? One blast from the Boris gun and—" "No, don't fire. That's an order." Groves moved back as a phalanx of horses rushed toward him, spears lowered. He swung his leg, spilling them over with his heavy foot. A frantic mass of men and horses struggled to right themselves. "Back," Bassett said. "Those damn archers." Countless men on foot were rushing from the city with longbows and quivers strapped to their back. A chaos of shrill sound filled the air. "He's right," Carmichael said. His leggings had been hacked clean through by determined knights who had dismounted and were swinging again and again, trying to chop him down. "If we're not going to fire, we better retreat. They're tough." Clouds of arrows rained down on them. "They know how to shoot," Groves admitted. "These men are trained soldiers." "Watch out," Siller said. "They're trying to get between us, pick us off one by one." He moved toward Carmichael nervously. "Let's get out of here." "Hear them?" Carmichael said. "They're mad. They don't like us." The four men retreated, backing away. Gradually, the tiny figures stopped following, pausing to reorganize their lines. "It's lucky for us we have our suits on," Groves said. "This isn't funny anymore." Siller bent down and picked up a clump of weeds. He tossed the clump at the line of knights. They scattered. "Let's go," Bassett said. "Let's leave." "Leave?" "Let's get out of here." Bassett was pale. "I can't believe it. Must be some kind of hypnosis, some kind of control of our minds. It can't be real." Siller caught his arm. "You all right? What's the matter?" Bassett's face was contorted strangely. "I can't accept it," he muttered thickly. "Shakes the whole fabric of the universe, all basic beliefs." "Why? What do you mean?" Groves put his hand on Bassett's shoulder. "Take it easy, Doctor." "But, General, I know what you're thinking, but it can't be. There must be some rational explanation. There has to be." "A fairy tale," Bassett muttered. "A story." "Coincidence. The story was a social satire, nothing more. Social satire, a work of fiction. It just seems like this place. The resemblance is only—" "What are you two talking about?" Carmichael said. "This place," Bassett pulled away. "We've got to get out of here. We're caught in a mind web of some sort." "What's he talking about?" Carmichael looked from Bassett to Groves. "Do you know where we are?" "We can't be here," Bassett said. "Where?" "He made it up. A fairy tale, a child's tale." "No, a social satire to be exact," Groves said. "What are they talking about, sir?" Siller said to Commander Carmichael. "Do you know?" Carmichael grunted. A slow light dawned on his face. "What? Do you know where we are, sir?" "Let's get back to the globe," Carmichael said. Groves paced nervously. He stopped by the port, looking out intently, peering into the distance. "More coming?" Bassett said. "Lots more." "What are they doing out there now?" "Still working on their tower." The little people were erecting a tower, a scaffolding up the side of the globe. Hundreds of them were working together, knights, archers, even women and boys. Horses and oxen pulling tiny carts were drawing supplies from the city. A shrill hubbub penetrated the Rexinoid hull of the globe, filtering to the 4 men inside. "Well," Carmichael said, "what do we do, go back?" "I've had enough," Groves said. "All I want now is to go back to Terra." "Where are we?" Siller demanded for the 10th time. "Doc, you know. Tell me, damn it. All 3 of you know. Why won't you say?" "Because we want to keep our sanity," Bassett said, his teeth clenched. "That's why." "I'd sure like to know," Siller murmured. If we went over in the corner, would you tell me?" Bassett shook his head. "Don't bother me, Major." "It just can't be," Groves said. "How could it be? And if we leave, we'll never know. We'll never be sure. It'll haunt us all our lives. Were we really here? Does this place really exist? And is this place really—" "There was a second place," Carmichael said abruptly. "The second place?" "In the story. A place where the people were big." Bassett nodded. "Yes. It was called what?" "Brobdingnag." "Brobdingnag. Maybe it exists too. Then you really think this is—" "Doesn't it fit his description?" Bassett waved toward the port. "Isn't that what he described? Everything small, tiny soldiers, little walled cities, oxen, horses, knights, kings, pennants, drawbridge, moats, and their damn towers? Always building towers and shooting arrows." "Doc," Siller said, "whose description?" No answer. "Could you whisper it to me?" "I don't see how it can be," Carmichael said flatly. "I remember the book, of course. I read it when I was a child, as we all did. Later on, I realized it was a satire of the manners of the times, but good Lord, it's either one or the other, not a real place." "Maybe he had the 6th sense. Maybe he was really here in the vision. Maybe he had the vision. They say he was supposed to have been psychotic toward the end." "Brobdingnag, the other place," Carmichael pondered. "If this exists, maybe that exists. It might tell us. We might know for sure. Some sort of verification." "Yes. Our theory, hypothesis, we predict that it should exist too. Its existence would be a kind of proof. The L theory, which predicts the existence of B." "We've got to be sure," Bassett said. "If we go back without being sure, we'll always wonder. When we're fighting the Ganymedeans, we'll stop suddenly and wonder, was I really here? Does it really exist? All these years we thought it was just a story, but now—" Groves walked over to the control board and sat down. He studied the dials intently. Carmichael sat down beside him. "See this?" Groves said, touching the big central meter with his finger. The reading is up to Liu, 100. Remember where it was when we started? Of course, at Nessie, it's 0. Why? Nessie is a neutral position. Our starting position back on Terra. We've gone the limit one way. Carmichael Bassett is right. We've got to find out. We can't go back to Terra without knowing if this really is, You want to throw it back all the way. Not stop at 0. Go on to the other end, to the other Liu. Groves nodded. All right, the commander let out his breath slowly. I agree with you. I want to know, too. I have to know. Dr. Bassett, Groves brought the doctor over to the board. We're not going back to Terra. Not yet. The two of us want to go on. On. Bassett's face twitched. You mean on beyond, to the other side? They nodded. There was a silence. Outside the globe, the pounding and ringing had ceased. The tower had almost reached the level of the port. We must know. I'm for it, Bassett said. Good, Carmichael said. I wish one of you would tell me what it is you're talking about, Siller said plaintively. Can't you tell me? Then here goes. Grove took hold of the switch. He held it for a moment, sitting silently. Are we ready? Ready, Bassett said. Groves threw the switch all the way down. Shapes, enormous and confused, the globe floundering, trying to right itself. Again they were falling, sliding about. The globe was lost in a sea of vague, misty forms, immense, dim figures that moved on all sides of them, beyond the port. Bassett stared out, his jaws slack. What? Faster and faster the globe fell. Everything was diffused, unformed. Shapes like shadows drifted and flowed outside. Shapes so huge their outlines were lost. Sir? Siller muttered. Commander, hurry! Look! Carmichael made his way to the port. They were in the world of giants. A towering figure walked past them, a torso so large they could see only a portion of it. There were other shapes, but so vast and dim they could not be identified. All around the globe was a roaring, deep undercurrent of sound like the waves of a monstrous ocean, an echoing sound, a booming that tossed and bounced the globe around and around. Groves looked up at Bassett and Carmichael. Then it's true, Bassett said. This confirms it. I can't believe it, Carmichael said. But this is the proof we asked for. Here it is, out here. Outside the globe, something coming closer, coming ponderously toward them. Siller gave a sudden shout, moving back from the port. He grabbed up the Boris gun, his face ashen. Groves, Bassett cried. Throw it in neutral. Quick, we've got to get away. Carmichael pushed Siller's gun down. He grinned fixedly at him. Sorry, this time it's too small. A hand reached toward them, a hand so large that it blotted out the light. Fingers, skin with gaping pores, nails, great tufts of hair. The globe shuddered as the hand closed around them from all sides. General, quick! Then it was gone. The pressure ceased, winking out. Beyond the port was nothing. The dials were in motion again, the pointer rising up toward Nessie, toward neutral, toward Terra. Bassett breathed a sigh of relief. He removed his helmet and mopped his forehead. We got away, Groves said. Just in time. A hand, Siller said, reaching for us. A big hand. Where were we? Tell me! Carmichael sat down beside Groves. They looked silently at each other. Carmichael grunted. We mustn't tell anyone. No one. They wouldn't believe us, and anyhow, it would be very damaging if they did. A society can't learn something like this. Too much would totter. He must have seen it in a vision. Then he wrote it up as a children's story. He knew he could never put it down as fact. Something like that. So it really exists. Both exist, and perhaps others. Wonderland, Oz, Pellutikar, Erewhon, all the fantasies, dreams. Groves put his hand on on the commander's arm. Take it easy. We'll simply tell them the ship didn't work. As far as they're concerned, we didn't go anywhere, right? Right. Already the vid screen was sputtering, coming to life. An image was forming. Right. We won't say anything. Just the four of us will know. He glanced at Siller. Just the three of us, I mean. On the vid screen, the image of the Senate leader was fully formed. Commander Carmichael, are you safe? Were you able to land? Mars sent us no report. Is your crew all right? Bassett peered out the port. We're hanging about a mile up from the city, Terra City, dropping down slowly. The sky is full of ships. We don't need help, do we? No, Carmichael said. He began to fire the brake rocket slowly, easing the ship down. Someday, when the war is over, Bassett said, I want to ask the Ganymedians about this. I'd like to find out the whole story. Maybe you'll get your chance, Groves said, suddenly sobered. That's right. Ganymede, our chance to win the war certainly fizzled. Senate leader is going to be disappointed, Carmichael said grimly. You may get your wish soon, Doctor. The war will probably be over shortly now that we're back, empty-handed. The slender, yellow Ganymedian moved slowly into the room, his robes slithering across the floor after him. He stopped, bowing. Commander Carmichael nodded stiffly. I was told to come here, the Ganymedian lisped softly. They tell me that some of our property is in this laboratory. That's right. If there are no objections, we would like to... Go ahead. Take it. Good. I am glad to see there is no animosity on your part. Now that we are all friends again, I hope that we can work together in harmony on an equal basis of... Carmichael turned abruptly, walking toward the door. Your property is this way. Come along. The Ganymedian followed him into the central lab building. There, resting in the center of the vast room, was the globe. Groves came over. I see they've come for it. Here it is, Carmichael said to the Ganymedian. Your spaceship. Take it. Our time ship, you mean? Groves and Carmichael jerked. Your what? The Ganymedian smiled quietly. Our time ship, he indicated the globe. There it is. May I begin moving it onto our transport? Get Bassett, Carmichael said. Quick! Groves hurried from the room. A moment later, he returned with Dr. Bassett. Doctor, this Ganny is after his property. Carmichael took a deep breath. His time machine. Bassett leaped. His what? His time machine. His face twitched. Suddenly he backed away. This... a time machine. Now what? Not... Groves calmed himself with an effort. He addressed the Ganymedian as casually as he could, standing to one side a little dismayed. May we ask you a couple of questions before you take your time ship?
Of course. I will answer as best I can.
This globe, it goes through time, not space. It's a time machine. Goes into the past, into the future.
That is correct.
I see. And Nessie on the dial, that's the present.
Yes.
The upward reading is the past.
Yes.
The downward reading is the future, then. One more thing. Just one more. A person going into the past would find that because of the expansion of the universe. The Ganymedian reacted. A smile crossed his face, a subtle, knowing smile.
Then you have tried out the ship?
Groves nodded.
You went into the past and found everything much smaller, reduced in size.
That's right, because the universe is expanding. In the future, everything increased in size, expanded.
Yes.
The Ganymedian's smile broadened.
It is a shock, is it not? You are astonished to find your world reduced in size, populated by minute beings. But size, of course, is relative, as you discover when you go into the future.
So that's it. Groves let out his breath. Well, that's all. You can have your ship.
Time travel, the Ganymedian said regretfully, is not a successful undertaking. The past is too small, the future too expanded. We considered this ship a failure.
The Ganny touched the globe with his feeler.
We could not imagine why you wanted it. It was even suggested that you stole the ship to use.
The Ganny smiled.
To use to reach your colonies in deep space, but that would have been too amusing. We could not really believe that.
No one said anything. The Ganny made a whistling signal. A work crew came filing in, and began to load the globe onto an enormous flat truck. So that's it, Groves muttered. It was Terra all the time. And those people, they were our ancestors.
About the 15th century,
Bassett said.
Or so I'd say by their costumes, Middle Ages.
They looked at each other. Suddenly, Carmichael laughed. We thought we were at...
I knew it was only a child's story, Bassett said.
Social satire, Groves corrected him. Silently, they watched the Ganymedians trundle their globe out of the building onto the waiting cargo ship. Now, if that ain't a weird one. That is definitely a weird one. That's why I love Philip K. Dick. The man is always messing with reality. Tessa, it is you. And how is you today? You like what now? I like a lot of things. Oh, wait. Who? Wait a minute. Fess up. Who became a superfan? Tell me now. Tell me. Tell me, please. I need to know. Because I'm at 10 superfans right now. I hit my goal. Somebody gotta fess up. know you are amazing. I am so happy to have you. Just seriously, thank you. That means the world to me that someone would be willing to put down money to help me continue to read, which is wonderful. I appreciate you. From Ms. Deborah. Well, Ms. Deborah, I doubly thank you as well. Hey, the Fat Movie Guy's here. How you doing, brother? You can tell your brother that I got his energy drink. I didn't lose mine. For those of you that don't know, my good friend, the Fat Movie Guy, does a lot of movie reviews and does all the reviews of like the popcorn buckets and stuff. And a very fun guy. Says the F word a lot. You can always tell how excited he is by how many times he says it. Great human being. Happy to call him my friend. And if you haven't already, go give him a follow. He's a great guy. Deserves it. All right. Well, that was a bizarre one. Fun. Yes, he says fun and friendship a lot. He says mother fun, too, which is, I don't really know what that means, but yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. He says fun. So, you guys are amazing. I truly, truly appreciate you. I do. And I've got 10. You guys are awesome. So wait, so I guess I got to change the goal now. So should I set it to 15? Or should I do 25,000 followers? I don't know. 50K. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you so much. I did promise that if we hit 25, when we hit 25K, I've got 2 more designs to release to the store that I think you will like. One of them actually might involve Storytime goblins. You know, would you like one that says, "I am an official Storytime goblin"? I actually thought about doing like a world tour shirt with all the countries that people watch from on the back of it. I think that would be so cool. Yeah. And I'm totally, when I do, and this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When I decide to take this dog and pony show on tour, I'm definitely making tour shirts. That's wonderful. No, and honestly, picture book night is definitely Sunday. We're going forward. I was let know that Miss Marley is okay, and so I am clear to read Llama Llama Red Pajama, and I've got a whole list of other stories. I give you guys a preview of what's on my list. I don't know if we'll get through them all, but I might just decide to do picture book like Sunday, Monday. So we got Llama Llama Red Pajama. We got Miss Maple's Seeds. We got Chrysanthemum, Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, Corduroy, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, The Giving Tree, Mike Mulligan and his Steam Shovel, one of my personal favorites, Rainbow Fish, Moose Stash, Edward Fuddwupper fibbed big. Green eggs and ham. Oh, the places you'll go, where the wild things are. Don't let the pigeon drive the bus. And if you give a mouse a cookie. I also have hats for sale, but oh no. You don't have to apologize. You do not have to apologize. I am just happy that she's okay. I would have held it up for a month if need be. And if something happened where she was, God forbid, in the hospital for any amount of time, I'd have said, you know what, take the phone, go in there, and I'll read right to her, just her, if that's what it comes down to. That's what we do. That's why I love this space. That's why, I'm never giving up this space, hell or high water, because we get to do this for each other. That's what's important. I'm trying to remember. Oh, thank you, Tessa. Anyway, yeah, so let's see here. Wow, there's 6 people watching over on the Tubes of You. 6 of you. That's awesome. That is so cool. Let's see here. I got to see which ones of these I have, because I have like 2, those banker boxes. I have like 2 of them full of kids' picture books. Yeah. Hey, Sky, welcome. How are you? Yep, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like always. We'll get started, and it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a fun night because it's just going to be some silliness. Hey, Linda, good evening to you. All right, so before I lose track of time here, oh, Sky is your kiddo. Awesome. Well, hey, Sky, welcome in. We're glad to have you, just like your mama. Is she really crazy? Like her username? Is she really crazy, mama? Depends on the day. That's awesome. Now, are you the one that's in the marching band? Because if you are, I got to see it. Your mama sent me a video, shared it with me. Wings is absolutely right. You're going to be in high school. Awesome. Good for you. Man, I remember when my kids started high school. Of course, now my oldest is almost 21 and my youngest is 18. Scary. Well, we're happy to have you here, and you are welcome anytime you like. All right. Well, before I lose track of time here, our next story takes us somewhere far more familiar and far more lonely. One man, alone on Mars, looks back toward Earth and waits for a moment that comes for us all. I am super happy she's okay. That just makes me happy. I'm glad she's okay. I'm sure that sucked, but I'm glad she's okay. And I can't wait to read to her on Sunday. That just makes my day. Okay, maybe I'm a little weird, but hey, that's why it's UndeadPapa, because I love being a dad, and if I can extend that out to other people, I'm so happy. That's awesome. I don't think so. You might be thinking of The Martian by the author's name is Andy Weir. This has a much different ending. But, yeah. No, you do. If I had a heart... I can't have a heart of gold. If I had a heart of gold, I'd be dead. I'd be like, oh, I got a heart of gold. Kind of like me in a nutshell. Help, help, let me out of this nutshell. Hey, boho girl. I was just about to start another story. If you want to stay. Be happy to have you. All right, well. This is Transit of Earth by Arthur C. Clarke. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Evans speaking. I will continue to record as long as possible. This is a 2-hour capsule, but I doubt if I'll fill it. That photograph has haunted me all my life. Now, too late, I know why. But would it have made any difference if I had known? That's one of those meaningless and unanswerable questions the mind keeps returning to endlessly, like the tongue exploring a broken tooth. The story is called Transit of Earth by Arthur C. Clarke. I've not seen it for years, but I've only to close my eyes and I'm back in a landscape of almost as hostile and as beautiful as this one. 50 million miles sunward and 72 years in the past, 5 men face the camera amid the Antarctic snows. Not even the bulky furs can hide their exhaustion and defeat that mark every line of their bodies. And their faces are already touched by death. There were 5 of them. There were 5 of us. And of course we also took a group photograph. But everything else was different. We were smiling, cheerful, confident, and our picture was on all the screens of Earth within 10 minutes. It was months before their camera was found and brought back to civilization. And we die in comfort, with all modern conveniences, including many that Robert Falcon Scott could never have imagined when he stood at the South Pole in 1912. All the facts are in the log. And by now the whole world knows them. So I guess I'm doing this largely to settle my mind, to talk to myself into facing the inevitable. The trouble is, I'm not sure what subjects to avoid and which to tackle head on. Well, there's only one way to find out. The first item. In 24 hours, at the very most, all the oxygen will be gone. That leaves me with the 3 classical choices. I can let the carbon dioxide build up until I become unconscious. I can step outside, crack the suit, leaving Mars to do the job in about 2 minutes. Or I can use one of the tablets in the med kit. CO2 buildup. Everyone says that's quite easy, just like going to sleep. I have no doubt that's true. Unfortunately, in my case, it's associated with nightmare number 1. I wish I'd never come across that damn book. True Stories of World War II, or whatever it was called. There was one chapter about a German submarine found and salvaged after the war. The crew was still inside it. 2 men per bunk. And between each pair of skeletons, the single respirator set they'd been sharing. Well, at least that won't happen here. But I know with a deadly certainty that as soon as I find it hard to breathe, I'll be back in that doomed U-boat. So what about a quicker way? When you're exposed to a vacuum, you're unconscious for 10 or 15 seconds. And people who've been through it say it's not painful, just peculiar. But trying to breathe something that isn't there makes me altogether too neatly to nightmare number 2. This time it's a personal experience. As a kid, I used to do a lot of skin diving. when my family went to the Caribbean for vacations. There was an old freighter that had sunk 20 years before out on the reef. With its deck only a couple of yards below the surface, most of the hatches were open, so it was easy to get inside to look for souvenirs and hunt the big fish that liked to shelter in such places. Of course, it was dangerous if you did it without scuba gear, so what boy could resist the challenge? My favorite route involved diving into a hatch on the foredeck, swimming about 50 feet along a passageway dimly lit by portholes and a few yards apart, then angling up a short flight of stairs and emerging through a door in the battered superstructure. The whole trip took less than a minute, an easy dive for anyone in good condition. There was even time to do some sightseeing, or to play with a few fish along the route. And sometimes, for a change, I'd switch directions, going in the door and coming out again through the hatch. That was the way I did it the last time. I hadn't dived for a week. There had been a big storm and the sea was too rough, so I was impatient to get going. I deep-breathed on the surface for about 2 minutes until I felt the tingling in my fingertips that told me it was time to stop. Then I jackknifed and slid gently down toward the black rectangle of the open doorway. It always looked ominous and menacing. That was part of the thrill, and for the first few yards I was almost completely blind. The contrast between the tropical glare above water and the gloom between the decks was so great that it took quite a while for my eyes to adjust. Usually I was halfway along the corridor before I could see anything clearly. Then the illumination would steadily increase as I approached the open hatch, where a shaft of sunlight would paint a dazzling rectangle on the rusty, barnacled metal floor. I'd almost made it when I realized that this time the light wasn't getting better. There was no slanting column of sunlight ahead of me, leading up to the world of air and life. I had a second of baffled confusion, wondering if I'd lost my way. Then I knew what had happened, and confusion turned into sheer panic. Sometime during the storm, the hatch must have slammed shut. It weighed at least 1/4 ton. I don't remember making a U-turn. The next thing I recall is swimming quite slowly back along the passage and telling myself, "Don't hurry, your air will last longer if you take it easy." I could see very well now because my eyes had plenty of time to become dark adapted. There were lots of details I'd never noticed before, like the red squirrelfish lurking in the shadows, the green fronds and algae growing in the little patches of light around the portholes, and even a single rubber boot, apparently in excellent condition, lying where someone must have kicked it off. And once, out of the side corridor, I noticed a big grouper staring at me with bulbous eyes, his thick lips half parted, as if he was astonished at my intrusion. The band around my chest was getting tighter and tighter. It was impossible to hold my breath any longer, yet the stairway still seemed an infinite distance ahead. I let some bubbles of air dribble out of my mouth. That improved matters for a moment, but once I had exhaled, the ache in my lungs became even more unendurable. Now there was no point to conserving strength by flippering along that steady, unhurried stroke. I snatched the ultimate few cubic inches of air from my face mask, feeling it flatten against my nose as I did so, and swallowed them down into my starving lungs. At the same time, I shifted gear and drove forward with every last atom of strength. That's all I remember until I found myself spluttering and coughing in the daylight, clinging to the broken stub of the mast. The water around me was stained with blood, and I wondered why. Then, to my great surprise, I noticed a deep gash on my right calf. I must have banged into some sharp obstruction, but I never noticed it, and even then felt no pain. That was the end of my skin diving until I started astronaut training 10 years later and went into the underwater zero-G simulator. Then it was different because I was using scuba gear. but I had some nasty moments that I was afraid the psychologist would notice, and I always made sure that I got nowhere near emptying my tank. Having nearly suffocated once, I had no intention of risking it again. I know exactly what it will feel like to breathe the freezing wisp of near vacuum that passes for atmosphere on Mars. No, thank you. So what's wrong with poison? Nothing, I suppose. The stuff we've got takes only 15 seconds, they told us. But all my instincts are against it, even when there's no sensible alternative. Did Scott have poison with him? I doubt it. And if he did, I'm sure he never used it. I'm not going to replay this. I hope it's been of some use, but I can't be sure. The radio has just printed out a message from Earth reminding me that transit starts in 2 hours, as if I'm likely to forget, when 4 men have already died so that I can be the first human being to see it, and the only one for exactly 100 years. It isn't often that Sun, Earth, and Mars line up neatly like this. The last time was in 1905, when poor old Lowell was still writing his beautiful nonsense about the canals and the great dying civilization that had built them. Too bad it was all delusion. I'd better check the telescope and the timing equipment. The sun is quiet today, as it should be, anyway, near the middle of the cycle. Just a few small spots and some minor areas of disturbance around them. The solar weather is set to calm for months to come. That's one thing the others won't have to worry about on their way home. I think that was the worst moment, watching Olympus lift off of Phobos and head back to Earth, even though we'd known for weeks that nothing could be done. That was the final closing of the door. It was night, and we could see everything perfectly. Phobos had come leaping up out of the west a few hours earlier and was doing its mad backward rush across the sky, growing from a tiny crescent to a half-moon. Before it reached the zenith, it would disappear as it plunged into the shadow of Mars and become eclipsed. We'd been listening to the countdown, of course, trying to go about our normal work. It wasn't easy, accepting at last the fact that 15 of us had come to Mars and only 10 would return. Even then, I suppose there were millions back on Earth who still could not understand. They must have found it impossible to believe that Olympus couldn't descend a mere 4,000 miles to pick us up. The Space Administration had been bombarded with crazy rescue schemes. Heaven knows we'd thought of enough ourselves. But when the permafrost under Landing Pad 3 finally gave away and Pegasus toppled, that was that. It still seems a miracle that the ship didn't blow up when the propellant tank ruptured. I'm wandering again. Back to Phobos and the countdown. On the telescope monitor, we could clearly see the fissured plateau where Olympus had touched down after we'd separated and begun our own descent. Though our friends would never land on Mars, at least they'd had a little world of their own to explore, even for a satellite as small as Phobos. It worked out at 30 square miles per man. A lot of territory to search for strange minerals and debris from space, or to carve your name so that the future ages would know that you were the first of all men to come this way. The ship was clearly visible as a stubby, bright cylinder against the dull gray rocks. From time to time, some flat surface would catch the light of the swiftly moving sun and would flash with mirror brilliance. But about 5 minutes before liftoff, the picture became suddenly pink, then crimson, then vanished completely as Phobos rushed into eclipse. The countdown was still at 10 seconds when we were startled by a blast of light. For a moment, we wondered if Olympus had also met with catastrophe. Then we realized that someone was filming the takeoff, and the external floodlights had been switched on. During those last few seconds, I think we all forgot our own predicament. We were up there, aboard Olympus, willing the thrust to build up smoothly and lift the ship out of the tiny gravitational field of Phobos, and then away from Mars for the long fall sunward. We heard Commander Richmond say, "Ignition!" There was a brief burst of interference, and the patch of light began to move in the field of the telescope. That was all. There was no blazing column of fire, because, of course, there's really no ignition when a nuclear rocket lights up. Lights up, indeed. That's another hangover from the old chemical technology. But a hot hydrogen blast is completely invisible. It seems a pity that we'll never again see anything so spectacular as a Saturn or a Korolev blast off. Just before the end of the burn, Olympus left the shadow of Mars and burst into sunlight again, reappearing almost instantly as a brilliant, swiftly moving star. The blaze of light must have startled them aboard the ship, because we heard someone call out, "Cover that window!" Then a few seconds later, Richmond announced, "Engine cut off." Whatever happened, Olympus was now irrevocably headed back to Earth. A voice I didn't recognize, though it must have been the commander's, said, "Goodbye, Pegasus," and the radio transmission switched off. There was, of course, no point in saying good luck. That had all been settled weeks ago. I've just played this back. Talking of luck, there's been one compensation, though not for us. With a crew of only 10, Olympus has been able to dump a third of her expendables and lighten herself by several tons, so now she'll get home a month ahead of schedule. Plenty of things could have gone wrong in that month. We may yet have saved the expedition, of course. We'll never know. But it's a nice thought. I've been playing a lot of music. Full blast. Now that there's no one else to be disturbed, even if there were any Martians, I don't suppose this ghost of an atmosphere could carry the sound more than a few yards. We have a fine collection, but I have to choose carefully. Nothing downbeat and nothing that demands too much concentration. Above all, nothing with human voices. So I restrict myself to the lighter orchestral classics. The New World Symphony and Grieg's Piano Concerto fill the bill perfectly. At the moment, I'm listening to Rachmaninoff's Rhapsody on a Theme of Paganini. But now I must switch off and get down to work. There are only 5 minutes to go. All the equipment is in perfect condition. The telescope is tracking the sun, the video recorder is standing by, the precision timer is running. These observations will be as accurate as I can make them. I owe it to my lost comrades whom I'll soon be joining. They gave me their oxygen so that I can still be alive at this moment. I hope you remember that. 100 or 1,000 years from now, whenever you crank these figures up into computers. Only a minute to go. Getting down to business. For the record, year 1984, month May, day 2, day 11. Coming up to 4 hours, 30 minutes. Ephemeris time. Now. Half a minute to contact. Switching recorder and timer to high speed. Just rechecked position angle to make sure I'm looking at the right spot on the sun's limb. Using a power of 500, image perfectly steady even at this low elevation. 4:32. Any moment now. There it is. There it is. I can hardly believe it. A tiny black dent in the edge of the sun. Growing, growing, growing. Hello, Earth. Look up at me, the brightest star in your sky straight overhead at midnight. Recorder back to slow. 4:35. It's as if a thumb is pushing into the sun's edge deeper and deeper. Fascinating to watch. 4:41. Exactly halfway. The Earth's a perfect black semicircle, a clean bite out of the sun, as if some disease is eating it away. 4:48. Ingress 3/4 complete. 4 hours, 49 minutes, 30 seconds. Recorder on high speed again. The line of contact with the sun's edge is shrinking fast. Now it's barely visible. Now it's a barely visible black thread. In a few seconds, the whole Earth will be superimposed on the sun. Now I can see the effects of the atmosphere. There's a thin halo of light surrounding that black hole in the sun. Strange to think that I'm seeing the glow of all the sunsets and all the sunrises that are taking place around the whole Earth at this very moment. Ingress complete. 4 hours, 50 minutes, 5 seconds. The whole world has moved onto the face of the sun, a perfectly circular black disk silhouetted against that inferno, 90 million miles below. It looks bigger than I expected. One could easily mistake it for a fair-sized sunspot. Nothing more to see now for 6 hours, when the moon appears, trailing Earth by half the sun's width. I'll beam the recorder data back to Lunacom, then try to get some sleep. My very last sleep. I wonder if I'll need drugs. It seems a pity to waste these last few hours, but I want to conserve my strength and my oxygen. I think it was Dr. Johnson who said that nothing settles a man's mind so wonderfully as the knowledge that he'll be hanged in the morning. How the hell did he know? 10 hours, 30 minutes, ephemeris time. Dr. Johnson was right. I had only one pill and don't remember any dreams. The condemned man also ate a hearty breakfast. Cut that out. Back to the telescope. Now the Earth's halfway across the disk, passing well north of the center. In 10 minutes, I should see the moon. I've just switched to the highest power of the telescope, 2000. The image is slightly fuzzy, but still fairly good. Atmospheric halo very distinct. I'm hoping to see the cities on the dark side of the Earth. No luck. Probably too many clouds. A pity. It's theoretically possible, but we never succeeded. I wish. Never mind. 10 hours, 40 minutes. Recorder on slow speed. Hope I'm looking at the right spot. 15 seconds to go. Recorder fast. Damn! I missed it. Doesn't matter. The recorder will have caught the exact moment. There's a little black notch already in the side of the sun. First contact must have been about 10 hours, 41 minutes, 20 seconds, Eastern Time. Ephemeris time. What a long way it is between Earth and Moon. There's half the width of the sun between them. You wouldn't think the two bodies had anything to do with each other. Makes you realize just how big the sun really is. 10 hours, 44 minutes. The moon's exactly halfway over the edge. A very small, very clear-cut semicircle bite out of the edge of the sun. 10 hours, 47 minutes, 5 seconds. Internal contact. The moon's clear of the edge, entirely inside the sun. Don't suppose I can see anything on the night side, but I'll increase the power. That's funny. Well. Someone must be trying to talk to me. There's a tiny light pulsing away there on the darkened face of the moon. Probably the laser at Imbrium Base. Sorry, everyone. I've said all my goodbyes and don't want to go through that again. Nothing can be important now. Still, it's almost hypnotic. That flickering point of light coming out of the face of the sun itself. Hard to believe that even after it's traveled all this distance, the beam is only 100 miles wide. Lunacom's going to all this trouble to aim it exactly at me, and I suppose I should feel guilty for ignoring it. But I don't. I've nearly finished my work, and the things of Earth are no longer any concern of mine. 10 hours, 50 minutes. Recorder off. That's it. Until the end of Earth transit 2 hours from now. I've had a snack, and I'm taking my last look at the view from the observation bubble. The sun's still high, so there's not much contrast, but the light brings out all the colors vividly. The countless varieties of red and pink and crimson, so startling against the deep blue of the sky. How different from the moon, though that too has its own beauty. It's strange how surprising the obvious can be. Everyone knew that Mars was red, but we didn't really expect the red of rust, the red of blood, like the painted desert of Arizona. After a while, the eye longs for green. To the north, there is one welcome change of color, the cap of carbon dioxide snow on Mount Burroughs. It's a dazzling white pyramid. That's another surprise. Burroughs was 25,000 feet above mean datum. When I was a boy, there weren't supposed to be any mountains on Mars. The nearest sand dune is a quarter of a mile away, and it, too, has patches of frost on its shaded slope. During the last storm, we thought it moved a few feet, but we couldn't be sure. Certainly, the dunes are moving, like those on Earth. One day, I suppose, this base will be covered only to reappear again in 1,000 years, or 10,000. That strange group of rocks, the elephant, the capital, the bishop, still holds its secrets and teases me with the memory of our first big disappointment. We could have sworn that they were sedimentary. How eagerly we rushed out to look for fossils. Even now we don't know what formed that outcropping. The geology of Mars is still a mass of contradictions and enigmas. We have passed on enough problems to the future, and those who come after us will find many more. But there's one mystery we never reported to Earth, or even encountered in the log. The first night after we landed, we took turns keeping watch. Brennan was on duty and woke me up soon after midnight. I was annoyed. It was ahead of time, and then he told me that he'd seen a light moving around the base of the Capitol. We watched for at least an hour, until it was my turn to take over, but we saw nothing. Whatever that light was, it never reappeared. Now, Brennan was as level-headed and unimaginative as they come. If he said he saw a light, then he saw one. Maybe it was some kind of electric discharge, or the reflection of Phobos on a piece of sand-polished rock. Anyway, we decided not to mention it to Lunacom, unless we saw it again. Since I've been alone, I've been awakened in the night and looked out toward the rocks and the feeble illumination of Phobos and Deimos. They remind me of the skyline of a darkened city, and it has always remained darkened. No lights have ever appeared for me. 12 hours, 49 minutes, ephemeris time. The last act's about to begin. Earth has nearly reached the edge of the sun. The two narrow horns of light that still embrace it are barely touching. Recorder on fast. Contact. 12 hours, 50 minutes, 16 seconds. The crescents of light no longer meet. A tiny black spot has appeared at the edge of the sun as the Earth begins to cross it. It's growing longer.
longer. Recorder on slow. 18 minutes to wait before Earth finally clears the face of the sun. You guys are awesome. Thank you. The moon still has more than halfway to go, and it's not yet reached the midpoint of its transit. It looks a little like a little round blob of ink, only a quarter of the size of Earth. And there's no light flickering there anymore. Lunacon must have given up. Well, I have just a quarter of an hour left. In the final minutes before liftoff, no matter, I have everything worked out now. I can even relax. I already feel part of history. I'm one with Captain Hook back in Tahiti in 1769, watching the transit of Venus. Except for that image of the moon trailing along behind, it must have looked just like this. What would Cook have thought over 200 years ago if he'd known that one day a man would observe the whole Earth in transit from an outer world? I'm sure he would have been astonished and then delighted. But I feel a closer identity with a man not yet born. I hope you hear these words, whoever you may be. Perhaps you will be standing on this very spot 100 years from now when the next transit occurs. Greetings to 2084, November 10. I wish you better luck than we had. I suppose you will have come here on a luxury liner, or you may have been born on Mars and be a stranger to Earth. You will know things that I cannot imagine. Yet somehow I don't envy you. I would not even change places with you if I could. For you will remember my name and know that I was the first of all mankind to see a transit of Earth. And no one will see another for 100 years. 12 hours, 59 minutes. Exactly halfway through egress. The Earth is a perfect semicircle, a black shadow on the face of the sun. I still can't escape from the impression that something has taken a big bite out of the golden disk. In 9 minutes it will be gone, and the sun will be whole again. 13 hours, 7 minutes. Recorder on fast. Earth has almost gone. There's just a shadow, black dimple at the edge of the sun. You could easily mistake it for a small spot going over the limb. 13 hours, 8. Goodbye, beautiful Earth. Going. Goodbye. Good. I'm okay again now. The timings have all been sent home on the beam. In 5 minutes, they'll join the accumulated wisdom of mankind, and Lunacom will know that I stuck to my post. But I'm not sending this. I'm going to leave it here for the next expedition, whenever that may be. Could be 10 or 20 years before anyone comes here again. No point in going back to an old site when there's a whole world waiting to be explored. So this capsule will stay here, as Scott's diary remained in his tent until the next visitors find it. But they won't find me. Strange how hard it is to get away from Scott. I think he gave me the idea. For his body will not lie frozen forever in the Antarctic, isolated from the great cycle of life and death. Long ago, that lonely tent began its march to the sea. Within a few years, it was buried by the falling snow and had become part of the glacier that crawls eternally away from the pole. In a few brief centuries, the sailor will have returned to the sea. He will merge once more into the pattern of living things. The plankton, the seals, the penguins, the whales, all the multitudinous fauna of the Antarctic Ocean.
There are no oceans here on Mars, nor have there been for at least 5 billion years. But there is life of some kind, down there in the Badlands of Chaos 2, which we never had time to explore. Those moving patches on the orbital photographs, the evidence that whole areas of Mars have been swept clear of craters by forces other than erosion, the long chain, optically active carbon molecules picked up by the atmospheric samplers, and of course the mystery of Viking 6. Even now, no one has been able to make any sense of those last instrument readings before something large and heavy crushed the probe in the still, cold depths of the Martian night. And don't talk to me about primitive life forms in a place like this. Anything that's survived here will be so sophisticated that we may look as clumsy as dinosaurs. There's still enough propellant in the ship's tanks to drive the Mars car clear around the planet. I have 3 hours of daylight left. Plenty of time to get down into the valleys and well out into chaos. After sunset, I'll still be able to make good speed with headlights. It will be romantic, driving at night under the moons of Mars. One thing I must fix before I leave. I don't like the way Sam's lying out there. He was always so poised, so graceful. It doesn't seem right that he should look so awkward now. I must do something about it. I wonder if I could have covered 300 feet without a suit, walking slowly, steadily the way he did to the very end. I must try not to look at his face. That's it. Everything's shipshape and ready to go. The therapy has worked. I feel perfectly at ease, even contented now that I know exactly what I'm doing. The old nightmares have lost their power. It is true, we all die alone. Makes no difference at the end, being 50 million miles from home. I'm going to enjoy the drive through that lovely painted landscape. I'll be thinking of all those who dreamed about cars, Wells and Lowell and Burroughs and Weinbaum and Bradbury. They all guessed wrong. But the reality is just as strange, just as beautiful as they imagined. I don't know what's waiting for me out there, and I'll probably never see it, but on this starveling world, it must be desperate for carbon, phosphorus, oxygen, calcium. It can use me. And when my oxygen alarm gives its final ping, somewhere down there in that haunted wilderness, I'm going to finish in style. As soon as I have difficulty in breathing, I'll get off the Mars car and start walking, with a playback unit plugged into my helmet and going full blast. For sheer, triumphant power and glory, there's nothing in the whole of music to match the toccata and fugue in D. I won't have time to hear all of it. That doesn't matter. Johann Sebastian, here I come. Gotta let that one sit for a minute. Oh, 80,000. You guys are awesome. Thank you. That's wonderful. So what'd you guys think of that one? Well, thank you. It was intense, but it's such a good story. The thing I love about good science fiction is that they take this concept of being stranded on Mars and manage to turn it into this almost beautiful moment of humanity. Arthur C. Clarke was a master at it. Isaac Asimov was a master at it, as you guys have found when I've read their stories. So it makes me extremely happy to be able to share these with you guys. Alrighty then. Yeah, absolutely. 82,000 likes. You guys are awesome. Sincerely. I really appreciate that. I do. It's yeah, KC, that's the thing. I mean, to take these hard science concepts and make them not only accessible but human, I remember when we read Isaac Asimov's The Ugly Little Boy. Such a beautiful story. So cool. CZ, it's totally fine. I try not to make them too heavy, and I didn't. You're right. Thank you, Wings, for pointing that out. I feel better about myself. Oh, damn it. You had to mention it. Shit. Damn it. You got me. All right. Well, that's where we'll leave our stories for tonight. With two very different journeys and two reminders that sometimes the strangest thing about the universe is the perspective it gives us. Thank you all for spending a little time with me around the fire tonight. Thank you to our super fans. I've met my goal, which is just awesome. You guys are great. Join me on Sunday night for something a little different, an evening of picture books. Oh, KC, you're very welcome. And if you enjoy these stories and would like to help support what I do here, please consider becoming a super fan or visiting the UndeadPapa Mercantile. The link is in my bio for some cool merch. Hey, Laya. Oh, hey, before everybody leaves, really cool thing going on tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Life with Laya is going to be hosting a write-off. These are always fun, and apparently yours truly might be reading something. So, please tell Marley I cannot wait to read to her. So, but yes, for those of you that are interested in some good, I don't want to say adult, but not, but good writing and narrating, go give Life with Laya a follow and join us tomorrow night. All right, so until then, until Sunday, or if I see you tomorrow night, please be kind to each other. And be kind to yourself. Because kindness matters. And so do you. Awesome, Lindsay. It's not an easy feat. Oh. Good night, everyone.